This Mbappe news, it's shaken me a touch.
Should we just remind people, if they haven't heard yet, PSG have accepted the £259 million bid from Al Hilal for Kylian Mbappe. That's the news that's shaken up Rory Jennings in the studio. Why is it shaking you, Rory?
Well, because I actually think that this kind of news it's earth-shattering for football as we know it. Football as we currently understand it is going to take a little bit of it's going to change.
In a good way or a bad way?
I'm inclined to say good, I think.
Why?
Because I have no issue with other leagues. I don't like the Premier League's strength. I don't like the way that the Premier League can bully European clubs. I don't like the way that Premier League clubs launch themselves into Europe every summer, spraying our cash all over the place and recruiting the best, pinching the best players from the continent. So I like the fact that there is now. Well, we're not the money league anymore, are we?
Well, I think we still are.
I don't think we are. We can't compete on money with Saudi.
Good point. Yeah,
there's no English club that could do anything. There's no English club that could do anything even comparable.
No one could bid £260 million. We are going to move on to Manchester United in just a moment. I just want one more question on the Saudi thing. We'll come on to it a bit later on as well during the Monday Club. But one thing that is a bit worrying, I was speaking to Liam Weeks a bit earlier on in the show. He's our Middle East expert, and he was saying that one of the plots potentially for Saudi is that they'll use the new strength of these new teams to try and launch some sort of Asian Super League, Eurasian Super League, where Al Hilal will be in this kind of league alongside the greats of England potentially and other teams across Europe. Now, I find that a bit worrying because we already saw the reaction to the Super League here. But those plans aren't going anywhere.
No, I agree. I agree that the Super League and the shadow that the Super League cast over football in its entirety has not gone away. Like that weird false celebration where we thought that we defeated the Super League, that was definitely premature. Yeah. That's not over. What I would get, I don't know any plans about this. This is just speculation. But if we're doing it, let's do it.
Yeah.
My guess is that Al Hilal will be competing in the Champions League.
Yeah.
That's how I envisage this going. I think it will
be... In a weird way, that would be the ideal scenario.
For who?
I think for football, because it then potentially slows down the idea that they'll just throw money at a new Super League and then that'll be it.
Yeah, I suppose it would have an impact on that, but what it would also do is it would suddenly make the move to Al Hilal so much more appealing.
Yeah.
So, it's already fairly appealing. They're already about to potentially sign arguably the best player in the world. They've already got the Ballon d'Or holder. So it's already quite appealing. If you can suddenly compete in the Champions League, which I think is the most iconic trophy, I think that's any...
Yeah, it then makes... Well, you're right, because it then makes a move to Al Hilal extremely interesting.
Yes.
You know what I mean? At the moment, to be completely honest, and we said this a bit earlier, it just doesn't really do it for me. I just kind of see it as... I see it as these players, and I know, as you say, Mbappe is one of the best in the world, but it's just kind of like, well, they're just going for loads of money.
Yeah, if the Champions League is there, if the Champions League is a possible outcome, it's not only about money anymore, is it?
Yes, exactly. Is it a little bit unambitious?
No, I really don't think it is. I think that people are being so snide, firstly about that league, but secondly about Kylian Mbappe's decision-making process here. I don't think it's unambitious. How can it possibly be unambitious when you end up being a billionaire?
Well, no, because who's going to care what he wins out there? Are you really going to care if Al Hilal win the Saudi League?
No.
Does that go on his list of huge achievements?
No, possibly not.
That's the point I'm trying to make.
Possibly not. But I think what he will be part of is actually broader than simply winning the league. What he will be part of will be the reasoning that the Saudi League has become one of the most interesting leagues in the world. He will be part of that. So, yeah, I know what you mean. If he goes to Al Hilal win the league, that's incomparable to things he's achieved already as a player.
Are we not?
But he will actually be part of something that's even bigger than a trophy. He will be part of a new league taking taking a foothold in the major leagues in football and over the major leagues in football.
I don't know about that, because are we not yet to see whether it does become interesting? Because actually, you've got a lot of players who are coming to the end of their career. Granted as well, they're signing some players that maybe midway through, the likes of Ruben Neves, he's only 26. Brilliant. But they're also coming into teams, let's be honest, where the level perhaps is nowhere near the level of that of the Premier League and maybe other leagues in Europe as well. So actually, are we going to be watching, a load of players who've just gone over there for a payday playing out arguably exhibition matches?
No, I don't think it will be exhibition matches. I think if you look at the passion that's on display when you see, look, we saw Lionel Messi score in America and he went wild. Mm-hmm. Nobody's calling that an exhibition match. And it's their domestic league, just like it's the Saudi domestic league. And they are trying to energise their own league. And I have no issue with that. In terms of saying that it's players who are coming to the end, you are correct on that, of course. But let's just acknowledge it for what it is. Kylian Mbappe is arguably the best footballer in the world.
Yeah,
the world's best footballer plays in that league in his prime. The current Ballon d'Or holder plays in that league. We are discussing it here. The Saudi league, when Cristiano Ronaldo went over there and he said, by the time I leave, and he started talking about himself in the third person, it was all really uncouth. But the point that he made was actually, a decent point. He said within 5 years, this league could easily be in the top 5 leagues in the world. And I think he's already being proved correct. We, with all due respect to the Eredivisie, we aren't discussing it. We aren't sitting on this show discussing what's going on in Portuguese football.
But quickly, just on the point of Mbappe, when you say that his big achievement would be to help grow this league, if he leaves after a year and takes the money and kind of goes, well, cheers, and then leaves.
The impact of
slap in the face, though?
No. Because that would be the agreement.
Because he's there just going, well, I've just come for the money, really, and I don't really care about the league, and I'm only staying for a year, and I'm off to Real Madrid to win some actual trophies.
No, if he signed a 3-year deal and then jumped ship, it would be rude. But there is an agreement that this is a year, and Kylian Mbappe giving one of his prime years to the Saudi league, he does deserve huge recompense for that. It's an amazing gift that he's giving them. Don't get me wrong, he's being very well paid for doing it. But arguably the best footballer in the world is saying a footballer's prime, well, if we're really generous, a top-tier footballer's prime, somebody like him, a decade? Yeah, a decade? So he's going to give 10% of his prime years to the Saudi league. Yeah, of course he's going to be well paid for that.
What do you think it means for the rest of football? 'Cause as you say, let's fast forward about 5 years. And we've just said there, haven't we, that him going to Saudi and winning a Saudi league, whatever, let's be completely frank, that is just not going to be that high on the list of his achievements. He's a World Cup winner, etc., and wants to be someone who goes on to win the Champions League. Are we going to reach a point where that does become an achievement that we talk about?
Yeah, I think so.
How far away are we from that?
When people start watching it, when people start caring, I think that's when it will. The trophy will then mean. So I imagine, by the way, this is again another display of you and I and people like us, and generally the narrative in this country being a little bit snide to that league, because we're acting like that league doesn't matter. That league doesn't have the prestige of other leagues. To them, it does. I imagine.
Yeah.
Look, I've never been to Jeddah, right? So I don't know how passionate the Al Hilal fans are. But my guess is that it means as much to an Al Hilal fan to watch their team win the league as it meant to me when Chelsea won the league. And for us to go, well, that league doesn't really count. It is a little bit.
I guess. Well, we are just talking in terms of the history of football, really, aren't we? We all know what the main competitions are.
Yes.
So I think that's where that comes from.